But at least we have the shared interest of getting out of our house and not cleaning.
Do we, though?
She thought we were so similar that we were too similar to be compatible.
I think it's a con to have too many shared interests to the point that there's not enough variation that keeps things interesting.
So shared interests versus shared skill sets is a distinction that should be made.
You are on fire, babe. Welcome to the Marriage Magnet podcast, where it's not just about attracting the one, it's about becoming the one. I'm your host, Nechama Phillips, and here we focus on growth, high standards, and creating an intentional life and love through self-development. Navigate your dating journey with clarity and confidence, because marriage is not just a box you check off, it's your life. Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage Magnet podcast. I am so excited to be here with you again today and to have my husband, Yehuda. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Of course. So today we're going to be talking about shared hobbies, shared interests when you are dating. Also, it can apply once you're married and to see how to navigate that. But we're just going to make a case here for if we think it is important or it's less important, because I get questions a lot from my clients that are asking, like, how important is it to make sure that the person I'm dating likes the same things that I like and cares about the same things and has the same interests and wants to do the same things. Like, if I'm outdoorsy, do they have to be outdoorsy? Will it work if we're both different in those ways? Like, we're just going to dive deep and explore, like, what our opinion is basically on if it's important, how to navigate differences if there are differences. So we're going to jump into it. But before that, just catch us up on how you've been since the last time you've been here.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been like a month
like
or
a long
so.
time. Yeah, month, a year, who knows. Yeah, I've been busy with work, with taking care of the family.
You had a big Shabbaton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, I feel like every time we say, it's just been chaotic. It's been crazy. That's our life these days with two little kids and working parents.
Yep.
Yeah. It was hard to get out the door tonight. We're actually filming at night, and usually we film during the day, or I guess previously we have, but we got a babysitter and we were trying to get out the door, and the kids obviously it was a hard night, specifically on the night we had to leave, basically.
Extra.
Yeah.
They were being very extra.
Yeah, they kind of knew, I guess, subconsciously that we were trying to get out. So what else has been going on?
I'm sick.
Yeah.
Or almost not sick.
Hoping that it's almost better, so you're saying you're almost not.
I'm manifesting being well.
Yeah, me too. It's been a while.
Yeah. So we're here doing a podcast at night.
I know. Are you feeling energized enough to get into this?
Yeah. The bright lights help.
Okay, good. I don't even know where to start with me and how I've been, but
Any place. Pick a place to start.
I'm excited for Pesach, honestly. That's really where my mind is going. It's like not so much of how it's been, but where we're going. Because we're going to be going to my parents for the first days and then to family friends for the second days. And yeah, I'm just excited for like family time, change of pace, a little bit of downtime where I'm not the one taking care of things, seeing my friends, being back in my hometown. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
But at least we have the shared interest of getting out of our house and not cleaning.
Do we, though? Because you were like, oh, it's fine, we can make Pesach. And I'm like, absolutely not.
I was just hearing how it sounded out loud.
Okay, once you heard how it sounded, no.
I let you decide for me.
Okay, good. All right, so let's dive in. I guess we'll start with, do you need shared hobbies in marriage? What's your take on that, right? Like, why does this topic even matter in relationships? Why do you think it's even a sticky point? Am I going with too many questions?
No. Oh, for me? No,
okay.
I'm
You
listening.
were rolling with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, give us your take.
Shared
hobbies.
Definitely do and do not need shared hobbies in a marriage. I wish you shared every single hobby that I wanted you to share with me.
Yeah, I feel like you lean way more.
I'm a hobbyist, so you're never gonna match my.
You lean more towards not having a lot of hobbies. I'm losing it. You have a lot of hobbies, but you lean more towards that the couple should share a lot of hobbies and interests. And I feel like if I had to choose a side, honestly, yeah, obviously you balance whatever, and we'll talk about what that looks like. But like, I think I, in a way, lean towards the not having and see the beauty in how that could work. But I think maybe you have the opposite take. Is that true?
I definitely hear your side, and I hear why it's your side, and it makes sense with who you are and what you said when we first met.
Yeah.
And hashtag too similar was coming out of you every day. She thought we were so similar that we were too similar to be compatible. Meanwhile, that was far from the truth.
Every time.
I insisted at the time.
Obviously, because once you get married and you find all of your differences, for sure. But in the moment, a lot of times we're finding, like, I also think like that. I also do that. The musical like that. I'm also creative. I'm artsy like that. I'm spaced out like that. I struggle with this. I also struggle with this. So there has been a lot of things, and it was concerning to me. And I definitely can see why it was, because there are things that we struggle with now. It was concerning to me that we were too similar in too many ways, basically.
In too many, or like specific ways that it pays to be different?
It's a good question. Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, because I don't think it matters if you both like to read or if you both like to
right. No, that's
hikes.
A great point. Yeah.
So shared interests versus shared skill sets is a distinction that should be made.
You are on fire, babe.
And I'm all about making distinctions for other people to then go do.
Well, no, that's a good one. No, I really hear that. So I guess that trickles into this conversation of like shared interests, shared hobbies. Is it really the hobby stuff, or is it shared, like, we're similar in personality? Because that's a different thing. I think
personality is many facets that you need shared personality, but also weaknesses and strengths as a personality.
Yeah, I think that gets much more into other territory, though. I feel like it could be a whole nother conversation on like how personalities match and coincide. So
it sounds like that's where we're going to have to go at this conversation.
No, let's.
No? All right, let's see what happens. Let's see if we can resist.
Yeah. Okay, so shared hobbies,
interests.
shared interests.
All right, what are you interested in?
You're asking me my interests as if you don't
know. And
let's
see if they match up.
But
what do you think now that you're interested in?
Right now at this moment?
Like, what if you had to tell someone what
if I had to tell someone my interests, I think they're pretty much the same from like my teenage years. So writing, music.
Writing or writing?
Writing, like WR.
Because both.
Oh, also, I was going to get to that. Horseback riding, but I would say horseback. So horseback riding, writing, reading, I feel like went in and out.
I
definitely not as much as
that.
you.
I nurtured you into more of a reader.
You reminded me of that I like to read.
I inspired you.
You inspired
to read more.
Yeah. I'm writing music, playing music, singing, just everything like everything connection. So like anything like inspirational. I love motivational. Like I love learning, spiritually and like academically, so to speak.
Knowledge.
Yeah. What are your interests?
Well, you said many of them.
Okay, so hashtag too similar.
No, but this
I'm
is
kidding,
this is what we're testing.
This is the good stuff. Yeah.
I like reading, but we don't like reading the same thing.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I like writing, but we write pretty differently. I like music, but our music taste overlaps in some ways, but I definitely listen to a lot of things that you don't listen to.
Right. There are differences within the similarities, within the shared. Also, I forgot to say, I mean, travel, adventure, like outdoorsy, camping.
But
like
you prefer the beach and I prefer the mountains. You like the mountains and all.
No, I prefer
find a shady
the
spot on a beach.
It depends when, where, how, what the kind of vacation will be like.
I think
what the intention
we're realizing here is you should have shared interests, but the specifics probably aren't going to match. What are the odds? Like if they do match, okay, great. But you definitely want to overlap on some interests so you can do them together, whatever it is.
Well, let's talk about pros. Thinking about like someone who's dating, because if you're watching or listening to this, like this is what I want people to think about.
Oh,
like,
we want this to be helpful for other people, not just
we're not just talking.
I forgot.
If someone is dating right now and they meet a guy and they are talking, they're into it a little bit. It's not like date 1, 2, or 3. and they're getting to know each other, like what they do in their spare time, like what makes them tick, like and they're getting to understand like the things that they appreciate, their interests, their hobbies, their talents. And they find like some kind of clash, or maybe they have the same fear as me of like, maybe we have we're too much of the same person, and that could be a problem, which we know no one's really the same, but still. I guess what should someone be looking for? What's your opinion on like, should someone be looking for someone who has the same interests, or should they be like, it's totally fine, like I could be adventurous and outdoorsy and like go do trips with my friends, and then like you could be more bougie luxury, you don't want to go outside, no bugs, like our marriage can still be amazing even if we have those differences? Or do you think you can't have an amazing marriage if you have such drastic differences like that in your interests? That was a very long-winded question.
No,
so good job still catching it.
You ended it well. I spaced out in the middle for a little bit, but I still know what you're saying.
Okay.
So it really depends, because we have an amazing marriage. Do I think that I have everything I need in terms of my hobbies when it comes to you as a partner? No, because you're not going to do a lot of them with me. So that's fine. That's
Lord of the Rings.
That's like the only word you know. That's just like...
It's a sore subject.
Doesn't even scratch the surface. And it's fine, because, you know, I can accept that and still have an amazing marriage and have friends, you know? Like, you don't have to only talk to your wife for the rest of your life, despite what some people might tell you. No, hopefully no one's telling you that. Yeah, you could find other people to bond with in your life after the fact in these ways and still have an amazing marriage. Yeah, it's bonus points if you can, you know, bond in your hobbies with your wife, but I'm sure you'll find something. Like, if there's really nothing and that makes a difference to you, then I guess that is a deal breaker for you. And you have to decide, is this a deal breaker? If you don't know and you don't think it's a deal breaker, but like you want to know, like, should I be worried about this? I don't think I'm worried, but like people say all sorts of things. If you're not worried about it, then I don't think you're going to be worried about it later.
If you feel worried about it, and
it's
actually coming from
you,
that it's bothering you, then that means that it probably will continue to bother you.
Right. If it's so important for you, I think it would be part of your criteria that you're looking for, and you'd realize if you're not really so into that as, like, you know, the way you spend your time, I guess your love language or whatever, then it doesn't matter.
Well, it's not directly connected to love language
necessarily. Quality time
but
would have to be...
certain things would intertwine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, quality time.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about like pros of having a lot of similar interests and hobbies, is that certain things will be easier to do. Like when you make travel plans, it will be easier. When you are deciding what to do on a Sunday, or like you certain things will be easier to, like, I don't know, to make decisions on, because you're both just like, oh yeah, we both like that. And if that aspect of your marriage of making those kinds of decisions will feel easier. Cons, I think, is that it will feel not boring, because that's not the right word, but it will feel too similar, too much like you're not bringing a different dynamic to the relationship. And wouldn't it be fascinating if so? Okay, maybe I don't want to learn about Lord of the Rings, but and I, as hard as I try, I just can't get myself to be interested enough. But
I would have no issues with you being as interested as me.
That's what I'm saying. You lean more towards couples should have as many shared interests as possible.
No, I'm just saying it's not a con to have shared interests like you're trying to say.
Okay, I think it's a con to have too many shared interests to the point that there's not enough variation that keeps things interesting. Isn't it cool that one person really loves, I don't know, I can't think of X, and they can bring the other person into that appreciation? Not always does that work, but like it's just opening up our worlds more. I think if we both have different views and different understandings, different like things that we're pulled to, because then doesn't that create like more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like more something in the relationship, more
variety,
more we keep using the word
unexpectedness,
interest, spontaneity, more fun.
But is it fun if it's not something I'm interested in?
Well,
What makes it fun?
I guess is it fun to learn about your spouse and to see what lights them up and to see what they enjoy? I think it's fun. When you are talking to your friend about Lord of the Rings, I actually think it's adorable. I'm saying like you're going on and like the character, and I'm like whatever, but like it's funny, like it's still cute, like I'm still happy for you. Like I'm seeing my world is still more opened, even though I'm not interested in like getting into it. Like it brings fun and spice to the relationship when both people are not exactly the same and they have different kinds of things that they enjoy, that they bring to the partnership kind of thing. Yeah, no?
I hear what you're saying. I don't agree because...
There's a real debate here.
Well, you're trying to say that, like, from the perspective of someone who has less hobbies, I feel like it's easier to say the person with more is keeping things interesting.
I don't think
But
I
from
have
my
less hobbies.
Like, what are you
I have
interested that I'm not?
Oh my gosh, so many things.
What?
You see the kinds of videos I watch on YouTube? You see, like, that's just exhibit A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah, those
that's
are
already a lot.
fascinating because I have... because I'm in disbelief that people actually like that. So that's...
So I'm adding
it does
fascinating.
add fun, but
for those
it's like...
wondering, I like lifestyle vloggers. I like financial guru videos. I like...
Okay, so those are like...
learning about like entrepreneurship and motivation and inspiration and organization, time blocking, like effective living, self-improvement. I love this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Love is Blind and
right. So
Married at First Sight.
Some of these things are interesting, and I do see what you're saying, to have people interested in things that you wouldn't think to be interested in, and that are then interesting, but not enough that I would ever
do it on your own.
Yeah, be interested on my own. But once you are already involved in it, I do learn from that. I agree that is true with some of the things that you just said.
Thank you.
Not all of them, unless it's for comedic use.
Okay, well, that is also a benefit, even if you're laughing. So I'm kind of also a little bit laughing at your Lord of the Rings
wouldn't be able to
obsession.
make fun. I wouldn't be able to make fun of those shows you mentioned nearly as well or at all, because I would never even think to watch them or learn anything about them. But
okay,
now
so
I
for
can.
You.
Now I can make fun of those things because you're watching them.
That's amazing.
So that is helpful.
I can make fun of your Lord of the Rings stuff and similar things. But no, all jokes aside, that's really the truth of like being introduced to things that you wouldn't have been introduced to, and whatever addition that brings to your life. Sometimes you're like, wow. Like, I mean, recently we've been getting into this financial podcast, and I shared it with you, and you were interested. You wanted to watch several episodes. Like we talked about it. It affected our lives. Like we made a plan because of it. Like there's plenty of things that I'm really interested in that will trickle into adding to our relationship. What's so funny?
How many things am I interested in that you are getting to see on a daily basis?
What do you mean that I'm getting to see?
How often are you seeing the things I'm interested in or paying attention?
All the time.
Like
what do you mean?
I feel like I see a lot of the things, especially these days, that you're doing.
Very bold about it.
Ooh.
I am saying every time, because I'm very expressive. I share with you everything that's like.
No, but if I'm watching something else, you'd like disappear. You're not watching it.
What you're saying? If you watch, what's that? It's Always Sunny. What's that a show called?
Yeah, or like Avatar, or like any of the random shows that I randomly watch because I don't watch so much.
Oh, you're saying when you watch them in the house and like
you're not paying attention.
That's not. First of all, I don't really want to pay attention. Second of all,
or the books I'm reading, or
you don't know any. You
whatever
don't get
music I'm
interested in any of the
listening
books
to.
I'm reading either.
Unless, well, I picked them out for you, and I'm curious about what they're about.
You are?
I ask you like what you tell me. I listen.
I know. The problem is your books traumatize me. Like I don't want. There's a reason I'm not reading it. Like and same thing with the shows.
You're right.
Like sometimes
I know that's a reason.
I've watched.
You're too scared of Lord of the Rings, even.
I'm a sensitive girl.
I think I watched that when I was 9, maybe, or 10.
Let's not talk about what you watched when you were 9, because I feel like
What do you mean? It wasn't
some
real.
of these
It's not real.
movies that you've discussed have been traumatizing for you, and you know that.
In which ways?
Should I mention one?
Maybe.
A Walk to Remember?
What does that have to do with this? And who said it was traumatizing? That's hearsay.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. We'll keep it at that. No, truthfully, a lot of the stuff that you watch, and if I have ever been like, okay, like, you know, like looking, seeing what you're watching, and it's like just 2 minutes, I'm like, why did I even look at the screen? I don't want that image in my head. Now it's in my head. Like, I literally
That
could
was
still...
like 5 seconds of the whole thing. You just happened to see that.
Every time you tell me, you just happen to see the gory part where they sliced off their head. Like,
Okay,
no.
that's like a fraction of shows. I'm not even watching anything right now.
I know, you have not been watching anything recently, but...
So this is like not so
We're
relevant.
getting too derailed into this movie, TV show category. But yeah, I think a lot of the things that you're interested in that I feel like I can't get myself into feel harmful to me. Not to be dramatic, but they just feel like sensitive wise. I'm just like, I hearing about the books, like remember Fourth Wing? Like I know a lot of people are into it, so no offense, but like I read the first chapter, like gonna cry. Like I can't handle.
Right, but that was really intense. I'm saying most of what I read, honestly,
sad, scary. I can't even think about it. So yeah, that's why some of the things in terms of those categories of books and movies are hard for me to get into, because either they're not interesting to me at all, or
you don't like my talking mice that fight each other in the woods?
Wait, am I supposed to know this? Hold on.
No, you're not.
Okay,
I showed you the cover, remember? Reese, I just read it for like the 10th time.
No, I just remember you were reading a book and the back is like that picture of a guy with
that's the author
cap with the white beard. Like that's what I remember.
You remember on the front there was like a mouse with a sword and squirrels.
Yeah,
and
I do remember now. Yeah, who knows? Who knows what that book is about?
But it's actually really good. Redwall. It's classic.
Okay.
Read it as a kid. I was like rereading it.
He's nodding his head.
People know it. It's very
I'm
famous.
sure people know it. Just like people love Fourth Wing somehow, and I just cannot.
Right, Redwall, Fourth Wing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
Interesting ranking.
Oh my goodness. You wouldn't. You don't understand.
Yeah, so in terms of finding the balance, right? So I guess we both were making a case for like why it's important to have shared hobbies and interests, why it also could be beneficial. Mm-hmm. I definitely think when you're dating, you should look for like baseline, like you're saying, it should be built into your clarity list. And that's something that I help my clients with in MMM so much, because, and not just a regular clarity list, we do it in a very specific way, but like being able to build that into the vision of what you're looking for like the person and for the marriage that you want to have. So I think some of your core interests, I think the things you hold dear, like the things that are most important, but I think it's important to also note that even within those things, we both love music, but I wasn't necessarily looking for someone who played instruments, wrote songs, like lyrics and composed and everything, and sang, and like I wasn't specifically looking for that, because for me, that part is not important. It's the core of the thing that was important. I was looking for someone who really appreciated music. And if that person would really appreciate music and they would really appreciate what I brought to the table with that, and would be like, wow, you're talented. I appreciate that. I like to listen to your music. I like to hear about your writings, your thing. Like, that would be more than enough for me. So the fact that you also sing and play is like a bonus. It's fun. It's like, we don't even play as much as we should, whatever. That's a whole nother topic. But like, that's not really what I was looking for. So in my opinion, when I'm seeing women date, I'm like, you don't need someone who likes things the exact way that you do. But if there's something that's really important to you, yes, it should be built in your clarity. And also it should be looking for the heart of it in someone else, and realizing that like what you actually need about the part that's shared and what would just be nice to have as a bonus. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You were like, I would love for someone. You said you weren't specifically like
Well,
I have to find it, but
No.
you were hoping that you would find someone who also sings and plays and writes, right?
I agree a lot with the ability to appreciate aspect.
Okay.
Personally, anything that I appreciate, I like to make and recreate in my own way. So, like,
Right, but let's say I appreciated it, but I wasn't a creator.
well,
I am, but it happens.
well,
like,
if you were
yeah.
able to appreciate without being a creator, that would be a big personality difference. But it wouldn't be as long as the
It wouldn't be a
ability
make it or
to
break
connect is still there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I lucked out,
Same.
So
Yeah. Okay. So we kind of are on the same page at the end of the day with how to find that surprise, surprise.
what is the
How to find that balance of like you should look for shared interests enough that it fits the vision of your marriage, enough that you are sharing the same interest in terms of the heart of the matter, the heart of the hobby, whatever it is that you actually really want to align on, and then also appreciate the the differences that how the difference can add to your relationship and to your marriage. Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious if like I have certain people in mind. Like we obviously don't have to like share them specifically, but like the idea. Do you have any marriage that comes to mind of like people who like they're both so different and you just like wonder how it works kind of thing, but you think it does or maybe it doesn't. But
I don't. Yes, but also like in those cases, they do have things they both appreciate, even if you didn't think that they both had that in common. You find what you have in common, and you connect in that way. And if you didn't find out before you got married, then it probably wasn't important enough to matter in the grand picture
or
of your
you
marriage.
were rushed into it, didn't think so much, weren't so intentional.
Well, I should hope not.
Right. That's what unfortunately happens a lot. And
If
that's
you're thinking
one
for
of my
yourself-
biggest passions of why I do this is to help women make really intentional decisions for their marriage and make intentional choices. But yes, I agree.
If
You
you're
should have thought
right,
about that
if you're
before.
aware enough to know what you want, or even think about what you want and use that in the equation, because I don't think any other option would really be a smart decision. Yeah, if you're thinking of what you want and shared interests like hobbies, I guess, are not really coming up so much, then it doesn't matter as much if you're really, and whatever else you're
If you
checking.
find so much to connect on, you shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, but we don't connect on. But like you already you have a good thing going.
Let's say you connect on not shared interests, but like how you would spend time together, and you have things that you like to do together, even if it's not a shared interest. Like, it's very foreign type of personality for me, but like your interests, it's very hard to even come up with it. But let's say you like, the thing that you like to do is I don't know, going out to dinner or whatever, doing like romantic things together that aren't really hobbies or interests so specifically. And then you have friends that you have the hobbies that you share with. You have a lot of friends. You're both very social, and people could be like that. That's fine. That's probably pretty common. Like you have.
But I guess you're saying for both of our personalities that wouldn't work because we're too multi-passionate to be okay with only sharing, going out to dinners and like doing everything else with our friends. I feel like we would want.
Well, it depends
in our case.
Depends how you build your life. I mean, it depends where in the world you are and how many friends you have close by and who's filling which.
Right, and what you value
outlet.
the most. If you are multi-passionate and you value that
if you
a
need
lot.
to connect with your spouse in these ways, then that's going to come out. If you don't need to connect, then if it's so important, you'll figure it out. If it's not so important, then you'll still have a wonderful marriage, because it's obviously not a deal breaker. And if it's not a deal breaker in a marriage, then I don't know, you really have to dwell on
If you want it to be a
Is
deal
there
breaker
such thing
or
as
not.
a no? Is there such thing as perfection in a marriage? It's not.
Right.
It's a spectrum. It's not like a good marriage or a bad marriage. So
Right.
like, do your best.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the couples that come to mind of like that I thought didn't share a lot of things, like it kept seeming like they clashed on so many things. Both of them that came to mind right away are couples who over the years have like merged more, which is cool to see because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, you know, someone I'm thinking about, her husband used to hate camping and then now it's like they run camping extravaganza. It's like that's how far it went from like not liking being outdoors. I would never sleep in a tent to like that. And you know them too. And
funny.
then I think of like another couple, whatever. It doesn't matter about the details. It's like I see them connecting so much more and having influenced each other in those ways. So like imagine one day I could love Lord of the Rings, just to wrap this up with a bow. But probably
I used to watch all 9+ hours or whatever, however many hours of the trilogy every single year. And now
it's an avoda, like.
And now since I got married, we were watching them together and we got through like half of it. And then since then just haven't
so long
watched it.
and it was so
I don't even like it anymore, you know?
Oh.
I'm done with it. We merged.
No, don't say that. You need to continue to like what you like and enjoy what you enjoy. Okay, so we'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for joining. And I think a good thing for like you guys to think about who are listening and watching would be, first of all, do you, like if you're married, do you guys share interests and hobbies? Do you find it important? Like I would love to hear your feedback. And if you're dating, something to think about is really what is the vision that I have for the marriage that I want? And of course, it doesn't have to be exact. And I really like that you said, Yehuda, like it's a range and it's a spectrum. It's not like we should just say like this is a good marriage, this is a bad marriage. It's about the nuance and the in-between. So just something to think about is the overall vision of what you're wanting and what would be meaningful to you and how that correlates to your strengths and weaknesses, which we said was another thing, like talking about personality. But when it comes to shared hobbies and interests, like how important is that to you? How do you feel about it? How does that like integrate into your vision? And then just to go with that and not let any outside noise like affect you. What are you saying? You start to I see you're about to say something.
Once you have kids, you get to pick one hobby, and then you can't do that either, but at least that's the one you care about, and you're upset you can't do, and you won't have any time for hobbies anyways, so enjoy.
Wait, you have to pick one hobby to knock down, you're saying?
No, I'm saying it doesn't matter how many interests you have, you're not sharing any of them because your kids are taking up all your time. And you can have one hobby that you try to do.
That's a really big shared interest, though, raising our kids together.
Right. If you don't want to raise kids together, you should probably talk about that beforehand.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Some people.
If you guys want to hear more about the Marriage Magnet Method and the work that I do with my clients, definitely check out the description below. There's more information there. And we will see you in the next episode, or I will see you in the next episode, and then Yehuda will be back in a few episodes. So
stay tuned, and I will see you next time.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening and watching.